Good afternoon YouTube, and welcome back to the channel where today you join me in my BMW e92 M3. A very exciting video for me today. We are finally installing the Karbonius full carbon fibre plenum, airbox lid, intake elbow. Oh man, I have been waiting a long time for this. So in today's video we are going to go through what they look like compared to the standard one, unboxing it and getting it on the car and that first impression drive. So stay with us and I hope you enjoy the video. So for those of you that are new to the E92 or engine tuning in general, I guess you're asking, why spend a large sum of money on something that's almost identical in looks really to the standard intake, except for it being made out of carbon fibre? Well, the reason for it is, one, if you've ever driven a car with a carbon intake, if you've seen any of my E46 M3 videos with the CSL intake, it is just, it's so good. And I was just, every time I saw the videos come up with this kit from Karbonius, I was like, oh, I don't need another carbon. Oh, I do need another carbon intake, because with the V8, I'm sure this is going to sound incredible. I've seen videos, I haven't heard one in person, so I'm super excited to see how it's going to be like. But basically, it's going to look fantastic in there, all gloss carbon fibre. Standard calibration, you're meant to see around 10 horsepower, with a tune upwards of 30 horsepower. But I'll clarify straight away, I'm not doing this for the performance gains. For me, it's about the noise and the feel of how the car's going to drive. Now, it's also, I believe, almost half the weight of the standard inlet manifold. So anywhere in a car of this size and weight that you're saving a couple of kilos is never a bad thing. But for me, the noise, the look, the sound, the way it's going to drive, just, I mean, we live in a time now where naturally aspirated stuff isn't there anymore for big cars like this. So this is probably going to be the last and only V8 I ever drive, I would have thought. So I thought, you know what, let's get it done. Let's make it as cool and as sounding as awesome as possible. So for those of you that follow the channel, I'm sure you'll also think to yourself, well, I've already got a K&N open intake filter kit on here. How much louder is it going to be, especially putting an airbox lid on? Well, what I can tell you, especially from those that have seen the video, is, I wouldn't say it's dishonest, but I put the microphone in the engine bay because you can never capture the sound of this V8, and that's the difference. Is the K&N gives a little bit more than standard. For me, I always love intake noise, because the beauty of it is when you're cruising along on the motorway driving gently, it's no louder than stock, but as soon as you plant that pedal, it just sounds incredible, and especially I can imagine on an engine like this. But as I said, the K&N kit has been a good little number. It was on the car when I bought it. It's done 420 brake on 2 separate rollers, so I don't believe it to be costing me any power, but it is obviously a smaller filter and a smaller airbox than the standard one, and many say that you can't perfect the standard airbox. That's why Karbonius use the lower section. They just do the lid and obviously the elbow and the plenum for the noise, and the power increases mainly in the elbow. So super excited to see how that's going to sound compared to the K&N, and obviously you guys are going to join me on that adventure. Another big one I'm expecting to see in the comments is, why didn't I supercharge the car? Well, it's 200 horsepower. 200 horsepower on top of a standard E92 M3. That's a crazy amount of power. But I've got a friend who's got a supercharged one. I've watched a few reviews on them being supercharged, and while when they work they're ballistically fast, it's not a fit and forget even, sorry, for me. They struggle with heat, so as expected, you got an engine bay pushing 200 horsepower more than it used to. It's an expensive kit. To supercharge your car realistically is going to be anywhere from £8,000 to £10,000, so it's not a cheap day out, it's not comparable. But pound for performance, if you just want to go fast, supercharge it. For me, I'm not disappointed with the standard power, especially once it's had the map and the pre-cat delete that we went and did at Aaron Reeve Motorsport. It really woke the car up, and I like working for the power. I love screaming it off to the red line to get absolutely everything out of it. So for me, not massively fussed for extra power. Like I say, the 10 to 20 brake potentially I could see from this is a bonus, but I don't feel shortchanged with how it drives as standard, especially for you guys that follow the channel. I've got the E46, which is 80-90 horsepower less than this. I've got the Clio that's 195. I'm used to driving slow cars, and if I want to go really fast, I'll just take one of the bikes out. Another thing I will go back to with the Supercharger that I've just mentioned there is the beauty of this inlet is within 30-40 minutes you can have it removed and your standard one back on, and that in itself is a great thing, because if you did have a change of circumstances, you needed to free up some money, you need to sell the car and return it back to standard, it's relatively easy to do. When you start going down the route of supercharging them, it's map changes, there's also obviously a much more involved fitting process, whereas this, as I'll show today, or for those that have seen the injector fitting, I don't think it's difficult, especially for a home mechanic, to install one of these. Whereas the Supercharger is a bit more involved. Obviously there is mapping to be involved as well, whereas this, you can run it on the standard map. It will always have that value that you can pull back out of it if you keep your standard parts. And it's not like a set of tyres where if you go out and buy a set of Cup 2s, they're going to be 1300-1400 quid. After a few track days and a couple of thousand miles, they go in the bin. The plenum will always have a value associated to it, and I'm not saying that you'll get the money back you paid for it, but Karbonius at the moment are running 6 weeks to order, so I don't think you'd have trouble selling it if you did want to get out of it for whatever reason. But again, as I said, from what I've seen, I can't see me having any regrets with doing this upgrade today. So why did I go for the Karbonius kit over another brand? Because they're not the only ones that create it. There have been a few other companies out there that produce it. For me, I've seen now on another brand's E46 and their E92 that the trumpets have come loose, and that for me, that is disastrous. And the problem is if that does happen, even if the product's covered under warranty, if you get carbon dust particles into your intake, it's not going to be good. So for me, I've seen the Karbonius stuff on the E46. They've now done over 800 of their inlet manifolds. So for me, it was worth the wait to get it from Spain, for it to come over, just so that I've got, you know, full peace of mind that every time I open it up, it's not going to fall apart on me. And that ultimately is why I chose Karbonius in this one. So for those that do comment saying, you know, you could have bought one much faster, local to home, it's just not worth the risk for me. And like I say, if it did fail, not only the downtime with the car, because it is my daily, but the damage that it could do if a trumpet was to break loose and obviously move around in that plenum. Whereas the Karbonius one, they've made so many of these units now, you ask anyone, they always speak highly of them. So that was my decision in going ahead with these guys. As mentioned, this isn't just going to be one video on the intake. Today we'll do obviously the fitting, the unboxing, a little drive out to see what it's like, and then it will be on to the exciting one, the point of view drive, and the one where we'll get the camera set up outside the car and get some proper blast so you guys can hopefully really experience what this is going to sound like. And then after that, it will be back to Surrey Rolling Road. We do have a base figure for the car on the K&N, and obviously the map and the pre-cat delete. So it'll be interesting to see if we do gain any power. As I said, I'm not going to be disappointed if I don't, even if it just gains 5-10 horsepower. I'm happy with that. Like I say, it doesn't to me feel shortchanged with the power. I love the balance of the power and the weight on the road, but if it does make more, brilliant. It's never a bad thing, is it? So enough of me waffling, we'll do a quick sound of the K&N filter. So obviously louder than a standard airbox, just on the driveway. The problem with the inlets or induction noises, you don't really experience it until the car's under load and your foot's really sunk down. So we'll do a quick blip off on the driveway with the K&N, then do one with the Karbonius, and then it'll be out on the road. But first of all, I've got to go and fit the standard airbox back in as well, which my good friend Lee has kindly sourced for me because he's now supercharged his, so he didn't need it anymore. And we'll get that on and start getting the shiny bits fitted. Well, boys and girls, it has finally arrived. The Karbonius E92 M3 intake carbon fibre system. Man, I have been waiting like a kid at Christmas for this to arrive. So, you join me on a very, very careful first unboxing. We shall see what's inside. Very, very carefully. Imagine putting a gouge through the carbon. Oh, that would be disastrous. Man, too tight. Man, it's proper stuck. All right, let's go back. It's like sellotaped and glued. Okay, so what have we got? Well, first thing, a monstrous BMC filter, considerably larger than the K&N one that I've got on there currently. Let's put that down there. Big bad boy Jubilee clip. Probably the part of how much money I've spent, but we'll leave that bit till the end. Oh man, I can see it. Oh, crikey, that is light compared to the stock one. We'll come back to that in a second. Assume the elbow. Let's put that on there. And the airbox lid. Obviously I will go for a full scour of the box. I'm going to throw anything away. Right, let's move all this out. Have a proper look. Right, well, I'm going to start with the plenum first because that is going to be arguably the most exciting part. Whoa. Whoa. Oh my. I mean, oh ho ho ho. That is unbelievable. Christ. Right. Let's move that to one side. So this, I assume, is the intake elbow. Oh man. I mean, oh, you can see why people speak so highly of this stuff. I mean, the weight of it. Everything coded as well for production date. I mean, man, that is just beautiful. A final piece. Oh, ha, ha. My God. Perfection. Just look at that. God. Well, better get it on the car. So with both of the plenums or airboxes side by side, I mean, it's clear to see the Karbonius one just looks gorgeous. And correct me if I'm wrong here, but I would say that the Karbonius one looks like it's going to hold more volume in terms of air because it is slightly larger. I don't know whether you guys will be able to see that on the camera, but maybe that is part of the key to where else they're squeezing power out of these along with the intake elbow. Awesome. Next we move on to the intake elbows. So I had the K&N one fitted to mine. I mean, I'll do a side by side, but considerably smaller in diameter than the standard one. And then the Karbonius one is just absolutely monstrous. And the lightest of them all as well. As you can see, the BMC filter included with the kit is a fair old size, especially compared to the K&N one. So first run out, so just setting off. I'm just gonna crawl out of town as to give my first reactions as to when I open it up. It is absolutely boiling out. Got the aircon running here. So give me 2 minutes, I'm gonna nurse it so you'll hear the first throttle opening. Nice and slow, pull away, let everything get up to temperature. So far, no different. Pulling away slowly, exactly the same as standard. So let's get it up to temperature and then we'll go from there. So put it down a few gears. So 4th gear, 2000 RPM. Oh wow, I was not expecting that. I pulled out of the house, well, doesn't sound any different pulling away. So I'd do a bit more RPM. We haven't really got enough room at the moment because I'm just going to get my hair cut. So I thought I'd let you join me on this first reaction video. So a little bit more now. Man, that was up to about 4000 RPM. What a difference, Jesus. What I will say is I think my exhaust is too loud because it is ruining that wonderful sound now. But round town, like driving normally, you wouldn't think it's any different, but as soon as you start sinking a bit of throttle, just like the E46 car. So yeah, join me in a couple of minutes when we're out at these traffic lights and we'll go again. Good morning YouTube. It is 6:30 AM and last night I tried to actually get to use this and the traffic, it was my own fault. I went out at 5 o'clock in the UK. It was never going to be good on a school night, was it? So just sat in traffic. Pleased to report that no faults or issues with it, and that's all about I can confirm. What I did pick up in a small little blip I got on the way home is the exhaust is too loud. Now I put this up, I was doing this on the owners club where I had my build thread, and a member did say probably going to be a bit loud with the exhaust. When I was messaging backwards and forwards, it'll overtake the plenum. You can still hear the inlet, but I think now my goal is to maybe go one pipe mod or maybe even a standard back box with the pre-cats out, but who knows, we'll see. But anyway, so it's 6:30 in the morning, there's no traffic out, just left the gym, so the sun's coming up. Thought let's go for that full red line for the first time. So just going to wait now to get to a bit of national and we'll see what it's like. Just try and wait for a little straight bit of road. There's a nasty little bump here. 3rd gear, 3000 RPM. Oh. Fucking hell. Whoa. Man, I was a little bit worried, I'm going to be honest, that it wasn't going to be enough. Man, if you can see my legs, that is incredible. Slow it back down. Jesus, because you hear the exhaust You hear the intake come on, and then it sort of, the exhaust overpowers it, and then it hits 6k. I hope the microphone is picking this up. Oh man, let's wait for another little straight bit of road again. Man, that is whoa. It's a lot of money. It is a lot of money. I'll quickly say that by the time you do the exchange rate, which works in my favour when I did it, and then obviously delivery on there, it's around £2,500. But as I said, it will always have a value associated to it. But pulling that then, man, right, okay, second gear this time, 3,000 RPM. Oh. Man, it feels strong at the top. I don't know whether it's just the noise, because there's a saying that car guys have, I think a lot of people say it for many things, to be fair, called the placebo effect, where your mind wants to tell you that it was worth the spend, but man, man, that is mental. That is properly mental. It's like a different car. I didn't, like I said, think I was going to see much of an improvement with the noise because of how loud the exhaust is, but fuck. And you can even hear it on the blips all through the intake. That is, and I'll try and load it up now. So third gear, 2,000 RPM. Oh. You can feel it like through the floor. Mental. Horrible bit of road here. Nasty, like double step in it. And we come onto a bit straight again after this bump. So I'll do one more pull for you. It's definitely woken me up before work. Man, that is cool. That is properly cool. So yeah, V8 CSL she is. Blimey, what a, I mean, what must that sound like now from the outside? I think the problem is, as soon as I put the windows down, all you can hear is exhaust. But I'll try it with the window and passenger side down, hopefully the mic picks it up. That is properly savage. I prefer it definitely with the windows up. You really feel it come through the car, whereas windows down I hear my exhaust again, and again it is very loud. So I am tempted to still make the exhaust a bit quieter, but man, when that hits 6,000 RPM, the noise, and again I really hope the camera picks it up, is savage, properly savage. And bizarrely it feels really keen at the top, really keen, which I wasn't expecting. I've done it, obviously, I thought a bit more mid-range, a bit more noise, obviously looks incredible, but yeah. So next video, guys, it's going to be the point of view on it. I've got to go for a proper drive for you lot. I've got to do the E46 one first. I promised I would do that, but yeah, overall, man, happy boy, very happy boy. So yeah, till the next one, if you enjoyed, obviously make sure you like, subscribe, and I'll see you when we're next behind the wheel with a camera and you get to see it firsthand. Thanks for watching.